Hey, so it's been a while since, well, really the only two videos that I have posted, and a lot has changed down here. Not so much with the 75. Angels are still doing well in that tank. Black Neons, Corys, the Pleco, all the fish are doing fine. Nothing's really changed with that tank, but this 29-gallon has certainly changed quite a bit. If you saw the first video that I posted, you could see that it was a Tanganyikan cichlid tank. I had 4 fish in there at the time. All of those have been sold or given away depending on the fish, and I sold the rock, got rid of the sand. I was just kind of bored with the Tanganyikan cichlids, you know. I've been doing them for such a long time, and it was so hard to get them to get along in such a small tank. There were so few species that I could even keep because so many cichlids from the Rift Valley lakes get so big, like it's ridiculous. But sold them, got rid of them, tore down the tank. Got some nice driftwood, some nice brown pool filter sand, some river rocks, and some plants, and threw together this West African. Well, right now it's not really a West African tank, but in the future it will be. Right now in the tank, I've got some black neons, which are sort of ruining the theme. They're here actually just as temporary ditherfish for these guys, which are my crebensis pair. There is the male. And there is the female, and actually right in there, on the roots of the Anubias, you can see that they've got quite a good number of fry, and that's what the ditherfish are for. See, crebensis needs some kind of like upper level schooling fish to make them feel safe enough to spawn, because in nature, you know, they'd be around schools of fish, and if the schools of fish were out and active, it would mean that there were no predators nearby, everything would be safe. But if there weren't any fish, that would mean that there would be a predator nearby because all the fish would be hiding. So if they don't have these like ditherfish, they tend to be a little bit more nervous, not really willing to spawn. But I threw these black neons in here maybe a week ago, and since then there's been a noticeable change in behavior. They're more actively defending their little hole right here that they've dug out, and obviously they spawned. But yeah, they're doing well. This is the first day that I've seen their fry. They probably hatched maybe 2 or 3 days ago, because crebensis, when they lay their eggs and they hatch, they usually keep the babies in their shelter that they laid their eggs in for a day or two just to protect them. But right now, the only other fish that I have in this tank is right over here, and he is a little leopard tenopoma who's quite the little nervous spaz. He's probably my favorite fish in the tank, just so much personality and such little fish. But see, he's coming up to inspect the camera. But maybe in a year's time or so he'll get much bigger. His maximum size will be about 6 inches, probably more around 5, but yeah, he's really cool. As far as plants go, I've got some jungle val in the back, not a West African species, but it's the only val that I could find in my area. I've got some Anubias, a couple different varieties of Barteri, I think is how you pronounce it. I've got a Nana, some just regular Barteri, and then some Cophifolia, I think it's pronounced. That's those 2 plants right there. And then I just have some water sprite up here. It's not native either, but I have it for a specific fish that I will be getting in this tank. And if you guys know anything about West African fish that live near the surface, you can probably guess what I'm going to get. But I hope to soon put these black neons back into my 75 and replace them with some Congo tetras, just some small ones to keep the West African theme. The tank is a little bit too small for Congo tetras, but I'm not really going to be in this house for much more than a year at this point, so I'm not really worried about growing out space. One other change that I did make to this tank is that I got a new light. And this is a Fluval Stingray 30-inch that I got in a couple days ago, and it is so much better than my old light. It's like maybe ½ an inch thick. I don't know if you can really see that all that well, but it is paper thin. And the LED quality is really nice. You can see that there's some reds and blues with some white LEDs that I think are around like 7,000K. So really good for the plants that I'm growing in here. Just a nice low light plant, but much better than my really old Fluval LED system. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this tank. I'm going to be adding some other West African fish as the weeks go by and this tank, you know, gets more established. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys are even watching, you know, let me know what you would prefer to see. You know, do you want to see more of the fish? I've I've got reptiles and bugs as well that I can show you as well if you're interested in that. But I just kind of decided to do this for fun, so, you know, whatever you guys want to see, I'll be happy to do. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.